Update: Sunday AM industry estimates believe that Black Panther will hit $400 million at the domestic box office by end of today, making the Ryan Coogler-directed Marvel movie the second fastest to that point along with Jurassic World in 10 days. Black Panther gets to $400 million in 4 days, less than the Avengers' 14 days, and ranks behind Star Wars Force Awakens' record of 8 days. The Disney release posted $47.7 million on Saturday, 66%, which puts its second weekend at $108 million, 46%. Can't mention enough how this Marvel movie goes higher and higher, so if we've grown this much since Friday, we're bound to grow even more by the end of today. At this pace, Black Panther would own the second-best second weekend at the BO, behind Force Awakens' $149.2 million, and well ahead of Avengers' sophomore sesh of $103 million. New Line Warner Bros. Game Night grew 25% on Saturday over Friday with $6.9 million, $7 million taking its opening to $16.7 million in second place, and as we mentioned, that's okay, not fantastic, and a bit of a rebound from the studio's R-rated laugh recession last year with A House, Fist Fight, and Alcon's Father Figures. New Line kept this comedy as economically sound as possible with a production cost under $40 million, which is their range for the genre. At this box office level with Game Night, New Line is in the same boat of other R-rated original IP comedy openers such as Mike Dave Need Wedding Dates, $16.6 million opening, $46 million final domestic, Office Christmas Party $16.9 million, $54.8 million, and How to Be Single $17.8 million, $46.8 million, so figure it comes in within $40 million, $50 million at the domestic BO. When all is said and done, R-rated comedies remain the quagmire for many studios outside of Universal's Girls Trip, geared toward African-American audiences, as studios and comedy creators continue to scratch their heads and figure out how to pull in younger crowds who'll fuel breakout successes. Another hurdle here with Game Night is in its packaging. The larger cast of Kyle Chandler, Jesse Plemons, and Billy Magnuson aren't known for their comedy chops, not to mention Jason Bateman typically plays the straight man to someone crazier in his comedies, i.e. Charlie Day in Horrible Bosses and Melissa McCarthy in Identify Thief, even Tony Hale and Will Arnett on Arrested Development. Though McAdams has starred in comedies in the past such as Mean Girls and Wedding Crashers, she has largely built her track record on more serious fare over the last decade, such as Spotlight, HBO's True Detective, Doctor Strange, Southpaw, and Terrence Malick's To the Wonder. Really, how can an average potential moviegoer know that this is a comedy, knowing that they had a different, clever comedy? Warner Bros. sought to capture that irreverent attitude in its marketing and trailers. This is one of the reasons why they didn't go with the silly standard stars on their poster concept, though that will be implemented overseas. The studio was looking to break form and keep within the Pic's unique sense of humor. The challenge here lied in selling to the young'uns under 25 on what Game Night is. Those of us raised on Parker Brothers and Milton Bradley board games in the 80s know exactly what it is, and so Warner's executed an extensive grassroots program that tapped into local influences, game trivia night takeovers, and an aggressive college program that touched down on nearly 200 campuses across the US, Canada. With test scores solid, Warner screened Game Night extensively with AMC, Regal, Alamo Drafthouse, the CW+, and Soho House, as well as with 8 influencers whose fan bases reached north of 36 million. Purchased media over 6 weeks. Warner Bros. went after older men during the AFC-NFC Championship games, the Winter Olympics, and NCAA basketball, as well as broader demo fare such as Alin's Game of Games finale and The Bachelor's Winter Games. Screen Engine scores. Post-track shows a 78% overall positive and 3.12 stars out of 5 overall. Audience response to cinema scores B for Game Night. Post-track polls continually throughout the weekend, not just Friday night. Those females under 25 repping only 14% of moviegoers enjoyed the Bateman-McAdams feature the most at 85% positive. Females over 25 36% and males over 25 35% respectively gave the comedy 76% and 78% overall positive scores. Sony's Peter Rabbit is 103% in its third Saturday with $5.7 million, sending its weekend to $12.4 million in third place, 29%. versus Universal Illumination top, which, like Peter Rabbit with James Corden, was built around the comedic sensibility of another British comedian, Russell Brand. The feature adaptation of Beatrix Potter's classic In Weekend 3 is pacing behind its 2011 title by 13%, with $71.1 million at the domestic BO. Hop ended its stateside run at $108 million, so figure Peter Rabbit lands in the low $90 mas. Paramount Ski Dance's Annihilation in fourth place drew $4.1 million on Saturday, 8%, keeping its three-day at $10.6 million. Post-track showed 71% overall positive and 3 stars, with males outnumbering females to the female sci-fi action pick, 56% to 44%. Right through after third update, Saturday AM, we knew earlier in the week that Black Panther would crack the century mark of the BO in its second weekend, and that's exactly what it's doing, with a current industry three-day estimate of $104.1 million, 48% after a $28.8 million Friday. Don't underestimate this Disney Marvel release, it will only get bigger. Disney, the broken records continually change, and at this time Black Panther looks to rank as the third best second weekend ever, behind The Avengers' $103 million, the best ever for a Marvel movie and the best sophomore session for any title in the pre-summer period, beating Disney's Beauty and the Beast last year, $90.4 million. The pick cracked past $300 million Friday, and by Sunday will see a 10-day run of $396.05 million. On the upside, Black Panther's awesome second frame continues to prove that event titles, when they're groundbreaking and speak up to audiences rather than down, can perform even better in the off-season than they do in the summer. They can single-handedly defy the handicaps of winter weather and school calendars. Comscore reports that 15% K-12 are off, and only 2% colleges. Part of Marvel's secret sauce here is that they don't see the titles that they pump out as merely superhero or comic book movies, but rather smart, genre-bending cinema. These hits can't be built on the backs of fans alone. At a deadline screening for Logan back in December, a film that proved again last March following Deadpool that R-rated comic book movies can actually rally at the box office, the Pic's director James Mangold made an excellent point. "I don't think there is anything as the superhero genre, and if there is, it's a pretty sucky genre," said the director. "There's fantasy films and heroic films like Ben-Hur, The Dark Knight, The Story of Jesus Christ and Gladiator, all are stories about heroes. Stick to a superhero formula, and you'll yield a stagnant movie, and that's exactly what Black Panther specifically does not do. It's more than a spy movie, more than a comic book movie, and audiences are showing how much they love the freshness of this heroic movie with their wallets." Black Panther's rays continue to shine brightly on social media as people leave the auditorium. The Pic social media universe across Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and YouTube has jumped from 901M last weekend to 981M within 5 days per Relish Mix. Last Thursday, daily YouTube views for the Ryan Coogler-directed movie were at 390k, and they've now spiked to 575k daily views per day for each top video, after the record-breaking Twitter surge from 137k to 559k. Hashtags for Black Panther and at Black Panther movie last Friday. You'd expect to see a rapid taper during the week, but that's not the case. While Saturday saw a total of 543k, that eased to 480k on Monday, and a daily 352k. "Remember, activity over 100k is exceptional," says Relish Mix. On the downside, the marketplace isn't a Bose all-rise situation with wide entries getting slowed at the box office. Sorry, distribution heads, just because your movie is opening within the tracking range, doesn't mean it's deemed a success. Warner Brothers. New line: Warner Brothers' Game Night is earning $15.1 million in second place, lower than what we saw last night after $1 million Thursday night, a $5.6 million Friday, an AB Cinema score which is toward the middle of its tracking range of $13 million, $21 million. That's okay for this $37 budgeted pick before PA, not fantastic, and an improvement both BO and audience grade-wise from Warner Brothers' string of R-rated clunkers last year, including Fist Fight $12.2 million opening, B, The House $8.7 million, B, and Alcon's Father figures $3.3 million, B. We hear Game Night tested well, and as such Warner Brothers held several advanced screenings, and ultimately received the blessing of Rotten Tomatoes critics at 82% certified fresh, which is quite a feat when you have a comedy, because they can be vicious. The convo surrounding game night is fairly positive, mostly coming from those fans who have attended advanced screenings, says Relishmix. Those who have seen it early have described it as hilarious. Also, many have praised the fact that it features strong leads including Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman. The plot has also been well praised as original in a time when many films aren't seen that way by many moviegoers. Women, who turned up at 56%, enjoyed game night, giving it AA. It's the over 25 crowd at 86% who are giving this a B. New line on the minor side, we hear that some insiders are grumbling about game night's release date in the wake of Black Panther, and then there's the marketing campaign, with trailers that rivals have criticized as being more of a serious sell than funny. Then there's those absurdist one-sheets which are advertising game pieces with burglar masks instead of stars Jason Bateman and Rachel McAdams. What's that all about? Some will try to blame the sluggish environment for R-rated fare. However, it smells like New Line had something to work with here from the decent audience reaction and critical reviews. Says Rolling Stone's Peter Travers, farce is a beast to get right in movies. The fact that game night hits the mark more often than it hits a wall is cause for cheering. Laughter is contagious, so let's see if Saturday night pegs game night toward a better end game. Paramount Ski Dance's sci-fi environmental auteur title Annihilation from director Alex Garland is coming in at the low end of its tracking range with $10.7 million for the weekend, in fourth place with $3.85 million for today. Paramount continues to pay for the sins of the previous executive administration of the late Brad Grey and Vice Chairman Rob Moore. Grey had a predilection for auteur-type films that could potentially be awards bait: Read Arrival, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, Mother, Suburbicon and Downsizing, but the previous regime overspent on them greatly, and that's why most of them have capsized at the box office. $68 million for absurdist comedy Downsizing, $30 million for the gonzo thriller Mother, far too much for haughty, fringe, experimental fare. One of the trickier aspects about Rotten Tomatoes is that its metric leans favorably toward auteurs, and critics enjoyed Annihilation at 87% certified fresh. When that's the case, these scores don't translate into great ticket sales. Reviewers enjoyed the fact that Garland stuck to his ex machina styling, and didn't sell out to Hollywood with a Jurassic Park-type picture. However, the audiences smacking it with AC Cinema score means Annihilation was too slow for them. Those between 18-24 gave Annihilation its best grade of AB, but they only repped 11% of the audience. Last weekend, Paramount opted to trailer their best wares on Black Panther, and that was Mission Impossible: Fallout. More males than females turned out for this women action movie, 60% to 40%. Both gave it a C. Paramount Pictures, but wait, wasn't Arrival slow? How did that movie get away with that pace? We understand that its story of a mother's anguish, coupled with its spiritual sensibility, is what spurred moviegoers to spend $100.5 million on that pick, and of course there was the pick's 8 Oscar nominations including Best Picture. It won one for sound editing. Paramount earnestly tried to sell this film on its greater attributes of being a largely female-driven action film. Some will believe the pick faltered because of the whitewashing controversy it faced, i.e., Natalie Portman's character was originally of Asian descent and Jennifer Jason Leigh's character being Native American in Jeff Vandermeer's Southern Reach trilogy, details that weren't revealed until the series' second novel. While such controversial noise doesn't typically impact the average moviegoer's purchasing decision, studio marketing executives believe that when building a pick's promotional momentum, it's better to be controversy-free. Arguably, the whitewashing syndrome with Ghost in the Shell was significantly louder and was more severe considering it's a popular 30-year-old manga property and starred Marvel superstar Scarlett Johansson. In regards to Annihilation, did moviegoers even know it was based on a book? Vandermeer himself didn't raise any objections about the studio and filmmaker's artistic license with the characters. Portman, Lee and Garland weren't even aware of the characters' ethnic backgrounds, as the first novel never delved into them. The pick's drooping at the BO lies more in the fact that it's a slow-paced, funky piece of specialty sci-fi cinema. The current administration is trying to get beyond these high-priced art house movies, and if there was no question about the pick's Paramount would have never sold foreign to Netflix sans China. Orion's $5 teenage production Every Day, based on a David Levithan novel, is coming in with $3 million. This label is dedicated to narrowly targeted audiences, with low digital-driven PA spends. I hear this was around $8 million. should the film get to $10 million at the domestic BO. For them, it's considered a high point as it triggers their MGM TV deals, which are some of the richest in the world. It's an okay result for what the pick is. Those who showed up gave it a B. It wasn't the teenagers who gave this movie its best grades. Under 18 at 54% of the crowd gave it a B, but the middle-aged folk 3,549 who repped 9% of Friday night moviegoers and graded Every Day an A. Industry estimates for weekend of Feb. 2,325, chart updating 1, Black Panther Dis, 4,020 theaters, $28.8 million, Fry 62%, 3-day $104.1 million, 48% total $396, MWK22, game night NLWB, 3,488 theaters, $5.6 million, Fry includes $1 million previews, 3-day $15.1 million, week 1-3, Peter Rabbit Sony, 3,707 theaters, $18.8 million, Fry 30%, 3-day $12.1 million, 31% total $70.80, MWK34, Annihilation Par, 2012 theaters, $3.85 million, Fry includes $900,000 previews, 3-day $10.7 million, week 1-5, 50 Shades Freed Uni, 3,265 theaters, $503.3 million, Fry 59 equals a $6.9 million, 60% total $89.50, MWK36 Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle Sony, 2,519 theaters, $281.3 million, Fry 28 equals a $5.6 million, 29% total $387.2 million, week 10-7, The 15-17 to Paris WB, 2,752 theaters, $299,095, Fry 52 equals a $3.54 million, 53% total $32.1 million, week 3-8, The Greatest Showman Fox, 1,601 theaters, $335,910,000, Fry 31%, 3-day $3.4 million, 32% total $160.70, MWK 10-9. Every Day OR, 1,667 theaters, $1 million, Fry includes $115,000 previews, 3-day $3 million, week 1-10, Early Man LG, 2,494 theaters, $353,000, Fry 58 equals a $1.4 million, 55% total $6.50, MWK2 Notable Samson Pure, 1,140 theaters, $109,258,000, Fry 55 equals a $915,000, 52% total $3.67, MWK2 Second update, Friday 1:03 p.m. Right now industry estimates have Black Panther at $92 million, which reps a 54% decline and falls between the second weekend declines of The Avengers 50% with $103 million and Avengers Age of Ultron 59%, $77.7 million. By the end of the weekend on this pace, Black Panther will see a domestic running tally of $384 million. However, this is a movie that has continually defied expectations, so we may see business grow by tonight. Remember, a bulk of the 18-24 crowd comes out for those 10 p.m. or later shows, and Marvel movies get to this enormous size on repeat customers. Black Panther's second Friday is at $25 million, 67% because opening day was padded by Thursday night previews. Still, this is historic business for the second month of the year in which snow and ice exist in parts of the nation, despite a heat wave in the Northeast. New Line's game night is playing to a $6 million opening day, and a weekend that's between $16.5 million, $18 million. We'll have a better idea tonight if word of mouth syncs with the critical heat on this R-rated movie. Paramount's Annihilation is set to collect an estimated $3.5 million today and $10 million for the weekend, now at the lower end of its tracking. Orion's micro-budget Every Day, after earning $115,000 from Thursday previews, is looking at $1.1 million today and $3.2 million over 3 days. First update, Friday 7:16 a.m. In the face of Disney Marvel's Black Panther earning $14.2 million alone yesterday for a running total that will cross $300 million today, New Line, Warner Brothers Game Night and Paramount's Alex Garland sci-fi environmental pick Annihilation respectively pulled in $1 million and $900,000. Annihilation was booked at 1,850 venues yesterday and will raise its theater count to 2012 today. Game night will play in 3,488. Game night is projected between $13 million, $21 million, while Annihilation was pegged between $10 million, $12 million. The upside for them in a Black Panther-dominated market. Both titles have awesome Rotten Tomatoes scores, with Annihilation at 90% certified fresh and Game Night at 83% certified fresh, and that's hopeful in regards to changing the minds of those moviegoers who pledge allegiance to RT. Disney. These are good starts considering that T'Challa is expected to take in more than $104 million in weekend 2. It's actually better for Game Night considering how audiences have been like mules when it comes to R-rated comedies in the last year. However, last night has given rival studios to Disney hope that all boats will rise in a Black Panther world. Through yesterday, he's made close to $292 million and he'll be the fastest Marvel title to $300 million in 8 days, beating the Avengers' 9 days. Black Panther will tie with Jurassic World and Star Wars: The Last Jedi in regards to the number of days to $300 million, which will rank second behind Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which cleared the 3-century mark in a record 5 days. Paramount. In regards to comps to Annihilation, there are films like Life, which made $800,000 on its first Thursday before posting a $4.4 million Friday and $12.5 million opening. There's also Arrival, which at a $1.45 million Thursday yielded a $9.4 million Friday and $24.1 million 3-day. Annihilation cost a net of $40 million before PA. This is the second featured directorial by Oscar nominee Garland, whose 2015 release Ex Machina, which was a notable sleeper on the art house circuit with $25.4 million, becoming A24's third highest release behind Oscar Best Picture winner Moonlight $27.9 million and current 5-time nominee Lady Bird $46.6 million. Game Night. Bulldozers. Comps for such R-rated summer laugh duds as Rough Night $700,000 Thursday, $3.3 million Friday, $8 million weekend, and The House $800,000 Thursday, $3.3 million and $8.7 million. The Hitman's Bodyguard, which fared the best of them all, was an action comedy, which Game Night has elements of. That pick Ryan Reynolds Samuel L. Jackson buddy comedy posted $1.65 million on its Thursday night before an $8 million Friday and $21.3 million opening. Also opening today is Orion's teenage drama Every Day in under 2,000 locations. Pick is specifically targeted at the LGBT community and females 13-24. Tracking has the micro-budget movie opening between $2 million, $4 million.